It was very, very interesting session. I would say in terms of key trends, the trends are really going to come from financing from the alternative markets. So the public markets has been very challenging over the last 1 year or so, and I think that trend is going to continue. So in order to be able to finance a number of mining projects and meet the decarbonization objectives, we're going to see more capital coming from the private sector, and also deployment of more alternatives from the financing, such as royalty streams and pre-development capital, etc. It's been very, very interesting. Made some very, good contacts. Met some very, very experienced industry people. Everybody has a common objective to ensure that the mining industry continues to evolve. I think it is. There's a lot of great ideas coming out of a number of interactions I've had during the session as well. And in terms of, to your question, in terms of three key takeaways, I would say, high level of optimism in terms of the mining projects coming on board in the next several years. There's a lot of, thinking around creativity as well as to how the industry can continue to, produce increased production, but also meet some of the critical challenges. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about ESG considerations, climate change, the fact that there is very high inflation expectation going forward. So the question is, how are we all going to, be able to meet the projections of minerals while addressing the supply at the same time? Those are some of the key discussions that have happened during this conference, and I've really enjoyed it as well. I think it's very important because mining is the bedrock of the economy, and I think, unfortunately, that message doesn't get communicated enough. I think one of the remarks I made on the panel was that the industry has a lot more work to do with respect to communication. Communications around the significance of the mining industry to the overall economy, communications around transparency with respect to investors' expectation. So you can't do this in isolation. The demand to supply all these minerals for the decarbonization is high. There are a number of challenges, so you can't do it alone. It's important that all the relevant stakeholders come together to come up with a solution. I wouldn't say any specific companies, but it was interesting and very encouraging to hear from some of the the government representatives, to hear about a lot of the initiatives they're doing to really open up the mining sector. Things around shortening the permitting time for developers to come on board. Those are key things that used to cause a lot of constraints, but hearing some of the things that they're doing is really encouraging, and it sends a very strong signal to investors and developers coming into the countries and also the sectors as well. So for me, that's very, very encouraging.